This is the Eyeballer on our changing world. I'll be right back. Stay with me. Is it the end of the West dominance? Europe's top diplomat has acknowledged that and I quote, the era of Western dominance has indeed definitely ended. Close quote. Joseph Borrell, the European Union's High Representative for Foreign Affairs, wrote this in a blog post on the official website of the EU's diplomatic service, and that was on February this year. I quote: "If the current global political tensions continue to evolve in the direction of the West against the rest, Europe's future risks to be bleak." Close quote, he warned. The wars in Ukraine and Gaza, along with the anti colonial uprisings in Africa's Sahel region, have, and I quote, significantly increased this risk, close quote, of Europe becoming geopolitically irrelevant, Borrell said, lamenting that, I quote, Russia has managed to take advantage of the situation, close quote. The European foreign policy chief revealed that, quote, improving our relations with the global south, close quote, is one of the, and I quote, the four main tasks on EU's geopolitical agenda, close quote. And I quote again, many in the global south accuse us of double standards, close quote, he confessed. Now, the third strategic issue currently on our agenda is about our relations with the so called, and I quote, global south countries. I know that the term, and I quote, global south encompasses very different realities, but it nevertheless raises a real issue. Well, the global south has a lot in common. You know, they were formerly controlled and ruled and plundered by the West. Well, let me get back to the issue here. I know that the term global, well, if the current global geopolitical tensions continue to evolve in the direction of, I quote, the West against the rest, and I close, Europe's future risk to be bleak. The era of Western dominance has indeed definitely ended. While this has been theoretically understood, we have not always drawn all practical conclusions from this new reality. The combination of the war of aggression against Ukraine and the war in Gaza has significantly increased this risk, as we have recently seen in the Sahel and elsewhere in Africa. Many in the global south accuse us of double standards. Russia has managed to take advantage of the situation, although its war of aggression against Ukraine is typically an imperialist and colonialist one. Well, that's a lie. Russia is not in there to be an imperialist and a colonialist. So, you need to get that straight and speak the truth. Russia Russia is defending itself because, as the former Angela Merkel of Germany had said, she came out and said, what the West was basically preparing the Ukrainian military. NATO was training the Ukrainian military to, to go into Russia, to fight the Russians, to break up the Russian countries and make it into little districts here and there, and to control the resources. Angela Merkel said that, yeah, you know, and a very outspoken woman. I mean, I wonder why she said that. I probably think maybe someone had stepped on her toes and she decided, I'm coming out here to speak the truth. Because women have a really difficult time being leaders, harder than guys, I must say. I mean, when a man can leave his office and hang out in a local bar and have drinks with the local people in a bar and have fun, um, females can't do that. So listen, they have a rough time. That we have to recognize. So Borrell is known for sporadically making frank comments, admitting inconvenient truths that most European diplomats leave unsaid. Either they don't have the balls or they don't have the spine to speak the truth. But sporadically he comes out and says something that makes sense. In 2022, the EU foreign policy chief confessed, quote, our prosperity was based on China and Russia. And I must repeat that. In 2022, the EU foreign policy chief confessed that their prosperity was based on China and Russia, energy and market, close quote. With cheap energy coming from Russia and access to the big China market as the cornerstone of the European economy. So why are you sanctioning these countries, you fool? However, Borrell's insistence that Europe must not divide the world into the West against the rest was contradicted by his insistence in the same February 2024 article that the EU must expand its cooperation with key partners, and in particular, the US. Guys, make up your mind. You're either a vassal of the US or you can stand on your own and work with people who are strengthening your economy and providing jobs and important goods and services to your economy. Don't be a sheep. The top European diplomat wrote that, quote, recent months have reminded us how important NATO remains to our collective defense, calling to strengthen the US-led military bloc. So you can't make up your mind, right? You have to strengthen NATO. You have to build more weapons. To kill who? I mean, I have been on Earth for a couple of decades here. And I can't remember, and I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I want you guys to tell me. I can't remember any countries in the global south. I'm talking about China, Africa, Latin America, the Caribbean. I can't remember any of those countries trying to attack any countries in the West to kill their people, to steal their natural and human resources. So who are you afraid of? Why do you need all those weapons? What are you preparing to do with those weapons? Yeah, I'm sure the global south, if you look at what they're doing with BRICS, is not about militarization, it's about progress and peace. So let me continue here. In 2023, the influential think tank, the European Council on Foreign Relations, published a white paper titled, and I quote, The Art of Vassalization, close quote. It warned of Europe becoming an American vassal, noting how the war in Ukraine had revealed Europeans' profound dependence on the United States. See, you guys will always be a vassal state for the United States because you didn't have the spine nor the balls to stand up on your hind legs and defend yourself. You guys are puny, weak, yeah? And America see you as insignificant. You can't make up your mind. I mean, you're destroying your own economy, right? Russia, you were getting cheap oil. China, you were getting all the goods and services that you need. And because the United States tell you that, don't do it anymore. Listen to us. Don't do business with those guys. And you know the situation about the war in Ukraine. You know that the war didn't start. Uh, I mean, you Russia did not just one day get up and said, let me look at Ukraine over there. I think we should actually take over Ukraine and colonialize Ukraine. I think we should use those Ukrainians as slaves. I think we should steal all their resources and make Ukraine part of Russia. That's not the story. So you gotta wise up, man. The West versus the rest at the United Nations. Let's look into this part of it because it's important that we follow all of this and understand what's happening in the world. You see, we these people come up here from time to time and say, "No, I'm expert in this and we are expert in that." To hell with them. We have to think for ourselves because the decision these people make, it affects the world. On the global stage, Europe frequently joins the United States in violating the will of the international community. That's a fact. At the United Nations, the United States and Europe often vote together, while the vast majority of states, which are located in the global south, vote against them. You know, because the global south are civilized people over there. The US only voted with the majority of the world at the United Nations General Assembly 32.7% of the time from 1983 to 2012. That means you're adults. You're not learning anything. In 1988, just 15.4% of overall United Nations General Assembly votes coincide with the United States votes. Europe is the only region on the earth that consistently votes with the United States. Now, in November 2023, the West voted against the vast majority of the world in the United Nations General Assembly resolutions concerning democracy, human rights, cultural diversity, mercenaries, and, unilateral coercive measures. We're talking about sanctions, right? Think about that. In April 2023, the West once again voted as a bloc against the other countries on the United Nations Human Rights Council defending unilateral sanctions, which violated international law. So now we understand what is dictatorship and what is democracy. In December 2022, the West voted against the rest of the planet in the United Nations General Assembly votes calling for a new international economic order. See, it can't be always the Western woman and men eating well, dressing well, having the best healthcare system in the world, having the best jobs, the best housing. It can't always be like that. Other people are human beings too, and not because most of the world are non-Europeans. It doesn't make a difference. And you don't want to see them move up. That's the problem. So With that being said, what do you think? This is the eyeballer and our changing world.